More great conversation on the air. Matt Melendez from the great Bend Chorale. Good morning again.
Good morning.
We've got more fun events, and as winter and fall are upon us, there is always seems to be a lot more concerts out there, a lot more opportunities for folks to get a little culture.
It's a better time of year for culture, I think. I don't know if it is a better time of year, but it just seems to be.
And there is a lot more going on as well. Friends and followers who are aware of the Hardware Distillery in Hoodsport. It's a great place. And there is a thing coming up on the 3rd that you want to
Yeah, on Saturday, November 3rd, we're going to do a tribute to Broadway. Partnering with Hood Canal Events is putting together a great menu. The distillery are going to be putting together custom cocktails and, of course, Manhattans because it's a New York theme. And this is kicking off our Carnegie Hall fundraising because we'll be performing at Carnegie Hall in May of 2019. And it's been an exciting Carnegie Hall week for us, actually. We've finalized the first round of plans, and I got the libretto for the piece that we've commissioned that we're going to be performing that celebrates the Olympic Peninsula and our home.
So talk to me, tell us how you got, I mean, obviously the joke, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? It's practice. But how did the invitation come about? This is a big deal.
Yeah, the invitation came about last January, and again, it was colleagues of mine who have been tracking my career, and they knew that I was launching a new organization, and they knew that we had done Messiah in November. And actually, it was partly you guys, because you broadcast our Messiah performance on Christmas Eve.
That's right, we did.
And Kevin Taylor, who's our contact at Carnegie, heard it. Streamed it.
Wow.
And said, oh, let me hear what Matthew's doing or whatever. And then called 2 weeks later saying, first saying, do you want to come back and sing Messiah with us next fall? And I said, yeah, I'd love to, but we're not going to be doing Messiah next fall. I think we're going to be doing Creation. And so we continued back and forth. And then Kevin was like, actually, I think we want to talk to you about programming something that you would conduct at Carnegie. And I was like, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, well, it was kind of this whole like, really? And he was like, yeah. And so I didn't really take it that seriously at first. And I said, okay, whatever. And then a week later he followed up. He's like, so have you thought about this? I'm like, oh wow, they're serious. And so I went back and said, first, can I include my children's choir? And then he said, yes, absolutely.
Of course.
And then he was like, okay. I'm like, can I commission something? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. Who are you thinking about? And I talked about the composer that we've engaged, John Muleisen. And they're like, oh, we've been wanting to feature a John Muleisen commission for forever, so it'll be John's Carnegie Hall debut as well. So
isn't that something?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. And so we're integrating, it's a 4-movement work, and the first movement in particular is really grounded in basically Mason County because it's a celebration of the landing of the first Western settlers here and what their experience was when they met the local tribes. And the research tells us that the tribal response was to sing to them and then to encourage them to sing back. And so we have all these letters from these 16, 17-year-old sailors from the late 1700s talking about these experiences and how wonderful they were. And what they sang, which were things like Danny Boy and You'll Take the High Road and I'll Take the Low Road, all these Welsh, Irish, and English folk songs we all know.
Yeah.
And so that was where the idea started. I love the idea that the two primary elements of our community, the native culture and the Western culture, first came together in song. I really love that idea. And so that was the genesis, the beginning of the piece. And we're exploring a bunch of other things with it. And I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah.
Man. That's a real feather in the cap, not only to you and the great band, but all the hard work that you have with your singers and things like that.
We were going really hoping to cast a spotlight just again on how remarkable this community is and the amazing history that we have here. And particularly, I'll tell you that the local tribes had the most advanced musics on the continent prior to Western civilization arriving. Our local tribes had the only native polyphony or harmony, the far most robust instrumentation for what they were doing, but they had no system of writing it down.
Sure.
So a lot of it's not as present in what we sort of appreciated about Native American artwork right now of the region as it might and I think should be.
Yeah.
So so we were hoping to create a work too that would go on to have life with high school choirs around the country as well, and continue to cast a spotlight back. So it'll be great. So that work will be on the Carnegie Hall's webpage for forever and ever, as with Gershwin's American in Paris and all these things that premiered first at Carnegie Hall.
Absolutely.
So that's the end of our season, and then we need to talk about the middle of our season.
What's coming up in the middle, Dale? You're going to love this one too.
Yeah.
So the middle of our season features this really amazing guest artist named Jeff Slakey, who's coming to join us. And we're doing January 25th, 26th, and 27th. We'll be doing performances of Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf with our narrator, Jeff Slakey. That's going to be I'm really looking forward to it. So we're going to be doing 2 daytime performances on Friday, January 25th, for all of the county's 4th and 5th graders. We're partnering with Mason County Transit. I'm filling out that paperwork today to help with transportation, getting the kids there. I don't know if you guys know, but 4th and 5th graders have an essential academic learning requirement mandated by the state, that they have a performance requirement. And normally that requires schools to get them out of the county or whatever, but we're trying to help with that. So we'll do 2 free daytime performances on Friday of that for all the county's 4th and 5th graders. And then we're doing a Saturday performance and a Sunday afternoon performance, because we just have to. It's Peter and the Wolf, and it's like one of my favorite things in the world. Yeah, so that'll be great. If you don't know Peter and the Wolf, it's a musical fairy tale. Prokofiev wrote it for his grandson. And the story is told 2 different ways. There's a narrator telling the story, but the instruments tell the story, and the instruments are the cast of characters. So each instrument plays one of the different characters. The hunters are the horns, the duck is the oboe. We do different things. The bird is the flute, or whatever. But everybody recognizes the music. And I remember I'm such a stereotype, but it was my first classical music experience as a kid in 1st grade. Going to see Peter and the Wolf at the Garden State Art Center in New Jersey, and I will never forget it. So I'm really looking forward to it. I've never conducted it before.
Congratulations to you, Jeff, as well.
Yeah,
participating in that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Matt, always good to talk with you, and we'll put the links, of course, to the Great Bend Society here, greatbendmusic.org, the Great Bend Chorale and Youth Chorale, getting ready. First things first, Hardware Distillery on the 3rd, as we get ready to raise funds to get to Carnegie. Then the Creation by Hayden on the 16th in Seattle and the 18th here in Shelton. Well, we'll get you back in to update and continue to talk with us more about these as we move forward.
Great, thanks
Good
so
to
much.
see you.
Thank you so much, both of you. And again,
thank you,
great
Matt.
to see you both.
Yeah,